Kia ora, good evening. Police have arrested several people in relation to an alleged kidnapping in Queenstown last week. Two men are facing charges of kidnapping, wounding and possession of methamphetamine, while two women believed to be involved in the incident will appear in the Queenstown District Court on Monday. Two other men also appeared in court in Invercargill earlier in the week on charges relating to the incident. Moreton Mains-based Blue Sky Meats has acquired Gore-based Clover Export, adding processing capacity in beef and venison to the range of services it offers sheep and bobby calf customers. No price was disclosed by Chairman Graham Cooney, who says Clover will continue with horse meat processing around a day a month on a toll basis for sale into the European market. He says the purchase effectively removes an export licence holder from the New Zealand processing scene and therefore assists industry rationalisation. Blue Sky Meats ended talks with Cooperative Alliance Group a year ago regarding a possible merger. Continual noise exceedances in the Kennington village near Invercargill has led to a suite of solutions from Niagara Sawmill in an attempt to resolve the issue. One of the options is to build a wooden wall to deflect noise and get it down to an acceptable level for residents and is compliant with the district plan.
They have been working on Kennington Road on the north of the Waihopai River and built a bund and done some works on their site and have addressed the noise issues there. But on the south side of the Kennington Road, the majority of the Kennington village, the noise hasn't been addressed to the level that's compliant with the district plan, and so the company is doing some work inside some of their buildings at the moment, and one of their options is to build a bund with a fence similar to along the east side on Kennington Road to start to address the noise. They cannot build the bund on their property, they don't have enough room, and so they have come to council and said, please would you consider an application to close Kennington Road or part of Kennington Road. So the council looked at that, or the Infrastructure and Services Committee looked at that on Monday night, and they had three options. One option was not to accept the request. One was to accept the request and process it under the Local Government Act, which means that it needs to be advertised and there's opportunity for submissions and takes quite a long time. And the third option is under the Public Works Act, where it is basically closed, the request goes to the Minister. So that's the shortest option in terms of time. The concern that some of the residents have raised is that they want to be able to voice their views, and Council has, or the recommendation includes that if Council is going to do this, then we would have a public meeting with the community and explain to them about the road closure and ask for some feedback, but it would be informal feedback.
Were there any other sort of suggestions that have come forward out of other ways it could be dealt with?
There are a number of ways, but the company is wanting to find the most efficient, cost-efficient way of resolving the issue. But they accept that at the end of the day they won't be able to meet the noise requirements and they will need a resource consent or a plan change. But they don't want to do that until they've done all what they see as the most practical issues.
If it becomes notified to public, what do you expect the response might be from the Kennington Village people?
Well, some of them may like it, some of them may be concerned about access. I've spoken to two people and one of them said it's a school bus route, so how will the school bus collecting the children to go to school, what changes will that mean? Some of them have raised concerns about the Kennington Road State Highway one corner and the dangers there. So they have expressed some concerns to me, and I've suggested that their best option is to come to council on Tuesday and voice those to the council.
The latest satisfaction survey conducted by police shows public's trust and confidence levels in Southland Police are the highest in the country.
Over 9,000 people throughout the country took part in the survey, which asked the public what their experiences had been like when recently having contact with police. 78% of people said they felt trust and confidence in New Zealand Police and that there was an increased feeling of safety in local neighbourhoods. The Southern District Police said they enjoy the highest public trust and confidence in the country, together with their Canterbury counterparts.
Around this time of year, we catch up with local authorities to find out the highs and lows of the year. Today, we caught up with Southland District Police to see how successful the year has been.
Southland Police have had another successful this year. We've had a reduction of 6% in our overall reported crime and a resolution rate of 53%. Over the last 6 months, we've had a large increase in our road policing productivity, and this has resulted in also a reduction of our crashes on the road. As we lead into the busy Christmas period, it is a timely reminder to people to ensure that they drive safely over the holiday period, but also as we have the Christmas functions, it is also timely to remind people of their host responsibilities when hosting work functions. From the 1st of December, the alcohol driving limits have changed, and this has been well advertised, and it's a reminder of people around those new requirements. This time of the year also, unfortunately, we do have an increase in family violence incidents, and so we would certainly advise people that are in stressful situations to seek help, and seek help from the agencies, many of which work through the Christmas and New Year period. Finally, on behalf of Southland Police, I wish everyone a happy and safe Christmas and New Year period, and we look forward to working and seeing you all next year.
Stay with us. Still to come on the bulletin, a local company with a national presence counts the benefits of driver training, plus Santa's on the run. Welcome back. Gaining efficiencies in a 1,000-strong truck fleet all adds to the bottom line, and HW Richardson Group are using driver training to save fuel, reduce maintenance and improve workers' health and safety. The company have been working with ECA to make efficiency gains.
It's about our drivers driving in a more smooth fashion, minimising gear changes, about recording fuel usage, and trying our best to do lots of good things, not just the business, but also the economy and the environment. The key point about driver behaviour change is just being very smooth. The number of gear changes is a key thing, and most of the times sometimes half the number of gear changes they make. Keeping their speeds to the right level, and just forecasting, looking ahead. If there's a red light ahead of you, just back off the throttle and cruise to the red light or cruise to the giveaway sign. And the same acceleration, just smoothly accelerate away from a stop. So it's about thinking ahead.
So each driver gets around an hour's driving analysis, I guess, initially, and then they're given some pointers in a training room, and then they're out on the track again or doing the same route, and those changes are noted. Yeah,
the key thing is they go with one of our driver trainers and do a normal route that might take an hour or so and drive as they normally would drive. They then spend quite some hours in the classroom looking at what the better ways to operate are, go out and do exactly the same route again and measure the change. And we've seen some phenomenal change, I said, from perhaps 3 or 4% fuel savings to sometimes over 20% with driver behaviour change.
Health and safety benefits too for the drivers, Scott?
Very much so. I mean, they're having to do a little bit less with the gear changes, and it's being smoother and easier on their bodies, and therefore we're trying to cut down the level of fatigue we have in athletes.
So there are improvements for them, but also for maintenance on the vehicle. A little early at the stage to tell, though? A
little early to tell, but we do think that we'll have genuine savings on tyre wear and also repairs and maintenance on drive lines.
And as far as litrage of fuel, what have you projected what it might save in a year?
Our business presently uses about 20 million litres a year of diesel across our wider fleet. So if we had a 10% saving, that's 2 million litres a year, and that's a lot of carbon not going into the atmosphere.
As a benefit of reduced carbon emissions, there's obviously less cost to the business as well?
Very much so. If we can save 2 million litres of diesel going through our tanks, that's a real saving. So the next stage for us is to try and find a way to go and share those with our drivers who are achieving those targets, and also hopefully makes us more competitive in the open market.
The evolution of trucks and the improvements with technology as they've gone along, perhaps the older drivers who are used to driving a certain style of truck and the new fleet vehicles, some changes there that are benefiting as well?
Genuine changes. Probably 20 years ago you had 300 horsepower and a 44-tonne gross load. Now you might have 500 horsepower. So the trucks have become much easier to drive. Even though they've got more horsepower, they're probably using a lot less fuel per tonne carted. But again, that only works if you've got the right operator doing the right things.
How's it been received by staff?
Very, very well. They can see there's a gain for all parties. And our guys have had a good communication program on that, but they've really focused on trying to make it work.
Jack Lloyd's been driving trucks all his working life and says he thought he was driving efficiently before the training.
Thought we were doing everything right and looking after the gear, and once we got trained on how to use the engines properly, it opened my eyes as to what could be achieved. So, anybody can learn anything.
A bill to extend paid parental leave was defeated in Parliament last night after a lack of support from the National and ACT parties. The bill, headed by Labour MP Sue Moroney, was focusing on the parents of disabled or premature babies and multiple births and hoped to extend their leave from 14 to 26 weeks. Due to parts of the bill being passed before the September election, there will be a third reading next year. The Privacy Commission has been prompted into looking at surveying local councils on how they use CCTV footage and store it, after it was revealed some Lower Hutt cameras could look into private homes. The Hutt City Council commissioned a report into its cameras by Security Risk Management, which found at least 5 cameras could undertake surveillance inside private houses. The Privacy Commissioner's office said the survey would include how the footage is stored, used and who has access to the live and recorded images. Although plans for the survey are still in their early stages, it is likely the Southland District Council will be included in the survey. Runners of all ages exchanged their tracksuits and lycra for something a little more festive yesterday. The Great Santa Kids Can Run hit Invercargill for the first time yesterday and saw the city's residents turn out in their best Santa outfits to raise money for Kiwi kids affected by poverty. Over 170 people participated in the 3-kilometre walk or run, which was situated in and around Queen's Park. Venture Southland event organisers say the fun run was extremely successful, and although money and number of participants is still to be counted, $30,000 has been raised nationally so far. And looks like a lot of fun. That's all from us this Thursday. Stay tuned for the weather next, followed by sport with Tom from the news team. Good night.